Welcome back, everyone. I am your host, Steven Avalos, alongside my dad.
Hello.
And my good friend, Marissa Dorr.
Hi.
And I noticed you put me in second again. What did I do to deserve being in second?
Oh, what happened?
I know. Did Marissa make you mad or?
I'm not answering.
Okay.
Oh.
No comment.
Oh.
Well, I'm glad I'm in the second spot. Take that, Marissa.
All right, so we got plenty of things to talk about today. Recapping the Super Bowl, talking about the Warriors season, and some news with the A's, and then some other things going around sports. So let's start off with the Super Bowl 55. So
I picked the loser.
As did I.
Me too.
Yep. Really sour ending to the season. At least, it really depends on how you look at it, especially with me and Dad being Raider fans. It was a very conflicting thing to go for. Either you have Brady win, who, represents a dark part of the Raiders' history, or the Chiefs, who are our rivals. It was a lose-lose situation, it felt like. And one thing that we can definitely take note of is that the Chiefs got bulldozed for the first time in, I think, a long time.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that had to do. It may seem like I'm
making excuses.
Making excuses, but the penalties that were called on them early had a lot to do with the end of the game. Mm-hmm. The pass interference penalty were holding, but he didn't get held, and it was happened to happen on an interception, which would have turned the game around and got for the half.
Yeah.
Instead of the Chiefs going to tie it up, all of a sudden.
That call I definitely didn't like.
Tampa Bay's going up 14-3.
I will say, though, I feel like there's definitely other penalties, though, that at the time, because of that one holding penalty, it made every other penalty look a lot worse than it was. Because there was some where it looked like that, some of the Chiefs were just asking for that penalty, or they were pushing it, knowing how the refs have been calling it, they didn't make that adjustment. And, of course, maybe that wouldn't have changed anything, but still, I feel like the Chiefs were not composed at all. They really cracked, once they went to halftime.
Yeah.
It showed with their attitudes. They didn't really look like they were really into it the whole game.
Yeah, but it as far as penalties go in the first half, 8-1.
It was definitely a bad game penalty-wise. It's at some point you got to let them play.
Oh, yeah, and even Boomer Esiason said at halftime that they weren't letting them play the game, that the referees were really, blowing the whistle way too much.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem when you look back at the other playoff games, and I think especially in the Green Bay, Tampa Bay one, they let them play for the most part. There were a couple calls for Green Bay, but I think overall in the playoffs, the refs didn't really have too many penalties like that, and then you watch this game, and there were so many right away.
It looked like they were getting paid by the penalty, the refs. Yeah. This makes some extra cash.
Yeah, I still don't think, though, that the penalties would have made enough of a difference. Because even seeing when the Chiefs were getting their chances to score, they still couldn't get in the end zone. Even when the game was already over, at least get some garbage points in there while you can. But they still couldn't. And of course, a lot has to do with missing two of their starting tackles. But even then, knowing Andy Reid, you expect him to be able to draw up a plan still. And they couldn't do that either.
I think a lot of the surrounding factors, maybe the thing that happened with his son, that might have contributed to him.
Yeah, the car crash.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I bet that definitely did distract him a bit, but, still, it's just, I'm just trying to label these as reasons, not excuses for why Kansas City lost, because, they did lose that game mostly, and, Brady, he did his job. It wasn't like he was really going to be asked to do much in this game, seeing how much the defense was giving him and how open his targets were getting. But he got the job done, and I just wish there was a way that they can give the MVP trophy to someone else, that's not a player, because easily it would have been Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator, because he drew up an outstanding game plan against the Kansas City Chiefs. They only blitzed, I think, 9% of the time, but Mahomes was under pressure 69% of the time, around there in the high 60s. He was pressured. And you always saw him running around. When you look at a graph of how much Brady and Mahomes had to move, it was two completely different games.
Yeah. And the fact that the glaring thing about the Chiefs was they only basically went to the two receivers. They went to Kelsey and Hill. I didn't see him go at any other receiver.
And
So-
also they were selling out too. Not I don't want to say selling out as they gave up, but like they were dropping lots of important passes.
Well,
that could've brought
the
them
one
in.
Kelsey dropped that would have
That would've given them
prolonged the
first
drive
down.
instead of giving the ball back to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, then Tommy Townsend, I think his name is, the punter. He first fumbles,
Oh,
but
yeah.
then still gets a good kickoff, and then the other one he completely shanks. So there was a lot of factors to the Chiefs losing, and Mahomes, he didn't play well, and of course a lot of that has to do with the O-line not being able to hold at all. And that's how every game goes. No quarterback can do well with a O-line like that. That's getting constantly run through with that good of a defense as well. There's nothing he could have done.
So who are you looking at next year?
If the
Chiefs
Bucks,
I know Chiefs are favored.
if the Bucks can maintain that, then they still got a decent chance. Because the NFC is going to be probably a bit weaker now because the Saints, they're going to lose Drew Brees. You wonder where they're going to go with quarterback because I don't know if Taysom Hill or James Winston are guys that can exactly be Super Bowl caliber. Of course, their surrounding roster can help make up for that.
Yeah.
But they are really heavy in the salary cap. I know Drew Brees helped out by lowering his as much as he could.
Well, I think they're going to lower it more when they get rid of him.
No, but also to help the contract in general.
Yeah,
so even when he
he's-
does retire.
he lowered his contract, or whatever he did to help out the team salary wise.
Yeah. No, there's not that many other teams in the NFC. You got the rest of the NFC West. Niners. When they come back to full strength, they can have almost as good of a defense. Hopefully, secondary. I don't know if they'll be as good, but getting Nick Bosa back will definitely make a difference. In Armstead, I think he was the other one they got hurt in week 2.
Yeah.
So, and then also Kittle. Is they can get a full season out of Kittle and all that.
If they keep Jimmy G, he needs to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Unless they
That
upgrade,
helps.
they could still they could still find an upgrade for Garoppolo too, but
Carr.
yeah, and then the Rams too. Got to think about how the Rams will be when they get Matt Stafford. I think he can definitely elevate this team a lot more than Goff could.
Yeah.
And they still got a really good defense. And Stafford, I think, is going to be able to raise the levels that their offense has, such as Cooper Kupp, who screwed me over in fantasy, so I might actually consider drafting him. Again, Robert Woods. I really wonder what they're going to do. And also Cam Akers as well. He's a pretty decent running back.
So we're going for
I'm
who
still,
next year?
I might still say the Bucks.
Okay.
But unless the
So we're
Chiefs...
gonna have you thinking repeat? Kansas City Bucks?
I think they could.
Oh.
No,
But,
I
all it takes is one
I still
game.
say Green Bay is gonna. Their coach is, while he has a great winning record during the regular season, he didn't coach very well in the playoffs. For not to go for the touchdown on fourth, did not make any sense, as we had said before. Because had they not gotten the touchdown, Tampa Bay would have had the ball on the 8-yard line, or if not even closer.
Yeah.
And if they do hold them and do have to punt, that means they had a better field position. It's a win-win situation. So
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Matt LaFleur, especially like his.
I'm not a fan of his name. I don't like his last name, LaFleur. What kind of
He-
football
he-
name is that?
His incompetence to give some weapons. Aaron Rodgers said they drafted a quarterback in the first round as if to light a fire under him or something. I think that was pretty ridiculous. It would have been better just to give him another weapon. And if they repeat that, then they deserve to lose.
Yeah.
Anything else about the Super Bowl?
No.
Well, the day before that, they revealed who the Hall of Fame class was, and 2 Raiders made it: Charles Woodson and Tom Flores. Flores, it was about time for him, long overdue. And Woodson, first ballot Hall of Famer. That's always really nice.
Yeah.
I made on some other people. I believe John Lynch, right?
Yes.
He made it too, and Peyton Manning, really awesome.
Well, Lynch played with the Broncos for years, didn't he? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Flores, what a great quarterback and coach.
Yeah, and,
So,
and he broke
long overdue.
barriers.
Yeah.
Broke
Long
many
overdue.
barriers. And Woodson, he's probably one of the greatest Raiders of all time.
Yeah.
Easily, maybe the best.
And a great a player to boot. So, of course, Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What else?
Anything else about the Super Bowl?
No.
No. Moving. Should we stick with football here? You know, go on with talking about Wilson here because there's.
You're the hostess with the mostest.
All right, then. So there's a tad bit of drama going on with Russell Wilson because his camp was talking about how much he gets sacked. You know, like over his career, he's never really had that many like great O lines to work with, and you know that can definitely mess with a quarterback's performance, especially if he has to be running around the whole time. And he's made some great plays doing that. You know, we've seen some ridiculous things from him, scrambling, and it seems like he might be getting tired of it now. He might want to get a better O line, and I guess you know the word from his camp might be a bit of a pressure to do that. And
Well, what
the
are you gonna do?
management
You're
is
gonna-
a bit upset about it, but I say like if you're upset, then you know.
You're going to go for he's going to want a better offensive line, but then he needs weapons. So
He's got the weapons right now. You know, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and Chris Carson. That's a pretty good set right there. He can maybe use another tight end, but Hollister's decent already.
okay, so they don't get more weapons. They go for the offensive line instead of fixing their defense.
Their defense did improve, though. They were horrible to start the year, but they got much better in the year and they became competent. And a lot of that had to do with trading for Carlos Dunlap, but I think it's pretty questionable if they're going to keep him or not. What I'm just saying is, though, is that I
What are you
think
saying, man?
I think they can do both defense. I say defense like that. I sound almost southern. Defense and offensive line. They can easily attend to both of those issues going on. But now, like some people are making up trade rumors about where you could possibly, like if Seattle it does want to move, or if Russell Wilson does want to go to somewhere else.
The
He's
Raiders.
not going anywhere.
Yeah, they actually were like, on the
really?
betting line. They put him at the top. Raiders.
No
You know, if any, basically the way it works now with the media cycle is that if any quarterback, you know, wants to move, immediately the Raiders are tied to him. And, oh, it will happen. Well, it hasn't happened for 3 years yet. I'll say just Watson or no one else. I say Watson has so much of a higher upside, but you got to get a good deal for him.
Let me say this:
what I
it's not happening. Texas is not going to give him up. So let me burst your bubble right now. Pop.
But what if though?
What if Kenny grew on trees?
What if Watson holds out? Are they just gonna hold on to his contract then and not even have him play, or are they gonna have to get rid of him if he really just holds out?
That would be a very Trumpian move.
But would you trade him then, or should they trade him then if he?
I'd make him
Holds out.
suffer on the bench.
Oh. Yeah, but that's just being spiteful then, and that's still gonna hurt you.
Well, I'm not going to give an adult baby his way.
Mm.
You sign the contract, you play it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit.
It's not that
against
they're not trying. They made some questionable mistakes, but I'm sure they
some.
did.
It's a really badly run organization. They
But
actually,
did they-
their president just left too. I think their team president. Yeah, it just seems like it's a really badly run organization. You know, there's so many things they could have done, like not let the other coach O'Brien make decisions on the front on their general management, and trade away DeAndre Hopkins and other good players. You know, for not enough of a return.
Well, who did they trade him for? Hopkins.
They traded him for David Johnson, who, you know, you shouldn't really do so much of acquire a running back in the first place. So that's a big mistake right there. And then they got I think a second round pick or a fourth round pick too. It wasn't a good deal at all. It was easily a big win for Arizona in that one. And it's just poorly run. So
Yeah.
I think it's also like it's what they also get for not managing a team right
Well, how long ago did he sign his contract?
last year.
Okay, well he knew the situation he was in.
I still
Okay,
don't.
so let me extend my contract to a team that is poorly run. Why not he could have got out?
And then also though, when they should have gotten a better coach, they instead get a guy who's a wide receiver coach, and in his years with Baltimore's receivers weren't good, and one of the years he went with KC, it was in 2014, where no Kansas City wide receiver finished with a touchdown that year. So he's not even like really that great at managing wide receivers. So now you're asking him to manage an entire team
He signed the
when they
contract.
should have got the enemy.
He should.
It's a crime that
he's the enemy
hasn't
of who?
been hiding. No, the enemy. That's
Oh,
the guy's
okay.
name. Marissa, what do you think of all this?
How long is his contract for? Do you know?
Right now, he's on a 4-year contract worth $154 million right now. And actually next year, his salary will only be $10 million. After
Only.
that, though, it bumps up to 30. So yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he'll actually go anywhere. I feel like if he did sign a contract for 4 years, then he must have known what the organization was really like, and maybe he did think it was a good fit. So I don't really know why now he wants to leave. I mean, I know why, but I don't know. I don't think he's gonna go anywhere.
Nope.
I think they'll trade him, especially if he holds out. I just feel like that's where it's going to go. But anyways, with some more football news, the Raiders released Tyrell Williams. He missed the whole season with I believe, a torn labrum. Yeah, he missed the season before it even started, and cutting him now, that's going to let go of $11.5 million right there. So that's going to help him a lot in free agency because they're already dealing with a bit of a cap situation. It was very much expected as well due to the team already having some people that they want to develop at the wide receiver position, such as Brian Edwards and Henry Ruggs III. And also, we don't know if this team's going to be able to bring back Nelson Aguilar because, there's a whole drama with him, his locker room rant.
Supposedly.
Yeah. No, it did happen, just not as bad as some people made it out to be, but he still had a rant in general. And we don't know if the Raiders will be able to bring him back.
Well, how good was Williamson?
He was pretty good, but the thing is he wasn't healthy. He missed, I think 6 games. Missed 2 to 6 games, I think, in 2019. Whenever he's on the field, he was good. But then also he missed the entirety of this year. And even then, too, he's being paid a lot of money for a wide receiver, $11.5 million.
A lot of cash.
Yeah. And plus, I think it's good for the Raiders team to have trust in how they can develop Edwards and Ruggs. I have a lot of faith in those guys.
Okay.
Yep. And so I think that's pretty much it for the NFL right now. Moving on to basketball. So, Dad, I think you got something you wanted to talk about.
Well, let's talk about the Warriors in general right now, and I'll talk about what I was talking about in a second.
All right. So Warriors right now are 13-12. They had a bit of a losing streak, 2-game losing streak against the Mavericks and Spurs, and then won again in their second game against the Spurs. Both really frustrating and close games.
Yeah, they could have easily won both of them, but
it came down to the final minute.
And that has to do with what the subject which I'd like to talk about and that's Draymond. As good as a player as he is, it seems like he's passing up easy shots to try to get these. Instead of forcing the ball in for an assist, he seems like he's on this high or whatever to get assists as opposed to just winning. He'll pass up wide open mid-range jump shots in order to, and no one will even be on him. 4 or 5 feet away, and he'll pass that up to try to force feed somebody in for an assist. And he's even said he enjoys giving assists more than he does scoring, which, It makes no sense. He was a good scorer in college because you're not going to make it to the NBA if you can't score, which we've said before. Yet he seems to have given up any chance of scoring unless it's a 3-point shot or an easy layup or dunk. But he's got such a good mid-range jump shot, and he's abandoning it for numbers. He's not playing to win as much as he is for stats, I think, right now.
Definitely their last 2 losses. Both of their losses have a lot to do with the bench not being able to score too much. Pascal, I believe, missed both those games, at least one of them, and even before that he wasn't too good. Wanamaker hasn't been scoring much lately, and Lee too. He was struggling a bit as well.
Yeah, he had a hurt thumb, so he has a little bit of an excuse there, but
yeah. But anyways, the bench really wasn't scoring much. Curry was doing great in both of those games. He's been great all season, but the 54-point performance against the Mavericks, fell just short. Doncic had a great game. He made some really clutch threes, but I get really annoyed too seeing him go for these fouls where, the shooter dives at the defender and they get the reward to shoot 3 free throws. I just really find that annoying. And what do you think about it, Marissa?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got an opinion on that one. Dad, what do you think about all that with shooters diving at defenders for free throws.
Well, I wouldn't say diving. I say they embellish their body into the defender. If that sounds a little bit more appropriate, I think, as opposed to diving, because I mean they're going to try to finagle the referees any way they can. Yeah. If it looks like they get hit or make it, it's a form of flopping, but I don't think it happens that enough to warrant any more discussion about it.
I still think though that it falls on the referees to allow that to happen, because they should be able to recognize like, hey, they're going for the foul here. They're the ones making the contact, and that's how it should work. A foul goes against the person making the contact, and in all those instances, it's the offensive player making contact.
Yeah, but that happens in NBA consistently with Paul and Harden.
But that doesn't make it right, though. That means that they should.
That's the way they play, and apparently the refs, they're blind to it. They've been doing it their whole career, and they're still doing it. So, what can you say about that?
Ask for a change.
A little bit about getting back to Green. He had a triple double the other day, and it was praised. He got a triple double, but he had 7 turnovers. Like I said, him trying to force the ball into the other players. 2 plays in a row, he threw the ball at the person's feet because he tried to make a pass that was impossible to make.
Well, in the game they won against the Spurs, in that instance, it worked 2 out of the 3 times that we saw it in the first quarter. So there's at least that somewhat of a benefit. Although you could say they got lucky on him, but they did
either way, he's got to get his ass out of his head. I don't know, one of the two.
But anyways, the bench did play a lot better in their last game against the Spurs.
Yeah.
It was really nice to see them in the Pascal game going 6 for 7, even though a lot of them was in the last 2 minutes. It's just something that you want to see.
He had 15 points.
Yeah, and Curry's just playing out of his mind right now. He's right at this moment in the season. He's averaging 29.6 points per game, with a field goal percentage of 48.7%, 3-point percentage of 42.9%. And he also, earlier this year, everyone knows, got a career high of 62 points against the Portland Trail Blazers.
Yeah, that was incredible. He had another circus shot that's one for the ages, too.
Yeah, I remember I was so mad when he was in motion. It looked like he was going to pass it. I'm like, I thought it was just going to go out of bounds. He had lost control of it as he was throwing it. That's what I thought happened. And I was so frustrated with it. What are you doing? And I just see it going. I was huh? I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I was so confused on that one. And he was making some really good shots. But like I said, he's been really good. But is he good enough right now to earn MVP? Because I feel like he's definitely worthy of being in the conversation right now.
Yeah, he's those kind of stats. Definitely MVP caliber.
Yeah.
Who else would you put above him?
Well, of course, LeBron. He's an easy one to put in there as well. Possibly anyone on the Sixers right now. They're playing really well. Jazz.
Yeah, Jazz. As good as they are, they are the epitome of team.
Yeah,
there's no one that really stands out. Mitchell, he's really good.
Or anyone on the Nets. I didn't even think of that. Anyone in that trio between Durant,
they cross each other out.
Bradley Beal too. How well he's played, even though he's on a horrible team. He has always made sure they're in it.
Well, Curry right now is averaging almost 30 points a game, 29 points a game. What is Beal averaging? 34, something like that.
So in the 30s, yeah.
In the 30s,
he's got to be.
Yeah. Right now they got the Jazz leading the Western Conference at 20-5, Lakers at 20-6. Clippers 18-8. Those are the top 3 in the Western Conference. Eastern Conference, you have the 76ers at 18-7, Milwaukee Bucks at 16-9, and Brooklyn Nets 15-12.
So a big drop off, but really it's just that because the Bucks haven't played as many games, because the Nets clearly have played more games. They only have 1 less win than the Bucks with 3 more losses. So yeah, there's that.
And Anthony Davis for the Lakers, he's been having Achilles problems, so that he's missed the last 2 games. So you never want a player to get any kind of career type injury, which that could be, because he's injured that before.
The Achilles is a very important area.
Yeah. It could be people's heel, Achilles heel, so to speak.
Oh, jeez, you funny about that one.
Yeah.
We're not even talking
Anyway.
about football. Anyways, I think that's all we got for basketball right now.
No, I have a fun fact.
Oh, yes. You do.
Actually, yes. Wilt Chamberlain, speaking of impossible feats like Curry's layups, it's not an official. What is it? Something. The 5 categories.
Oh, it was a
Which comes after quadruple?
quintuple?
Quin-
Yeah, quintuple. It is quintuple.
Okay, quintuple double. When he had 52 points, 32 rebounds, 14 assists, 11 steals, and 24 block shots. But the things that are in question are you see everything else is legit, but the 24 block shots and I think the 11 steals, because at the time it wasn't televised. So they have no visual proof. I don't know what the difference is between the points and the assists and the rebounds are, but because those are legit, so they say those really happen, but they say the block shots and the 11 steals are somehow questionable. And he did it shooting 82%. The only person ever in the history of basketball to do that.
Yeah.
Now, Draymond Green, he could have had a quadruple double against Memphis about 3 years ago when he had double digits in rebounds, steals, and assists.
Yeah,
And
first ever to do it without points.
Yeah, first one ever to get a triple double without points being involved. So there goes your NBA facts. Da-da.
All right, now moving on to the MLB. Thank you, though, Dad.
Hey.
Marissa, would you like to headline whatever's going on in the MLB for us here?
All right. So, I guess we could start off with the biggest news, right? Trevor Bauer finally decided to sign with someone.
Yeah.
And it ended up being the Los Angeles Dodgers. I mean, it was a little bit of a surprise to me. I really thought he was going to go to the Mets.
Oh, yeah, because literally the day before he made that decision, we were talking about how it looks like he's going to go to the Mets, and it was almost all said and done.
Yeah.
Well, the Dodgers really need him though. I mean, they had an awful year last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Very
Terrible.
funny.
But he signed a 3-year contract for $102 million. And his base salary is like $40 million. But he's gonna be the highest paid starting pitcher in the entire league. So that's a pretty big deal for him. It's a pretty big deal if you're a Giants fan, because that means you're gonna have to watch him a lot throughout the year.
He better be the best player, best pitcher in the league too. If you're getting paid that much money, that's what pisses me off sometimes with certain contracts that people go they have to be paid this much. When their contract expires, yeah, but if they're not gonna play to that level, then why pay them that much? And
Well, you only work what they're gonna pay you. Right? You're only worth what somebody's gonna pay you.
Yeah, but still though, Bryce Harper,
Yeah.
his contract
Case
right
in
now.
point.
Not worth it.
He's not worth it, but that's what they were willing to pay him.
Yeah, and the Phillies suck now.
Yeah, and look who
I'll
missed
say it
that.
sucks,
Look who missed that on the championship, Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
So,
I just think it's ridiculous though for this kind of situation. People not play as well as they're getting paid.
well, he's gonna put it. I put it this way. As far as I know, Bauer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He'll be just as good as he was in Cleveland.
Yeah, in Cleveland though, but
The only problem is that last year he had a really great season, but it was over 60 games. He played the teams like the Brewers and the Pirates, and I think for maybe 2 years before that, he had decent seasons, but the rest of the time he had a over 4 ERA or a 4 ERA. So that's average. So I don't really know if he's worth all that money.
So are you attributing his success to steroids?
Maybe. He does, it is speculated. Actually, I think he even admitted that he uses substance on the ball. But nobody will check him on it.
That.
Yeah.
he said on one of his many tweets or interviews that he does. Either way, he goes through media. I don't know. He talks a lot.
He's definitely trying to bring something back to the game. Just trying to get people interested with it. But I guess Mike Krukow, a broadcaster for the Giants, he said that I guess he is going to be the bad guy this season, especially to the Giants, which I guess is good. You need a bad guy to watch, and maybe baseball needs that right now.
Yeah, you know what? If he gets a world championship ring, you don't care how bad he is.
Yeah.
You know, he's joining a already World Series champion.
Yeah.
Who's dropped out of the Dodgers rotation, or what players have left the Dodgers? Did
Turner,
their third baseman, right?
Turner's unsigned right now. I think the Mets were looking at getting him back because he was a Met before he was a Dodger. He's not back.
How's Bellinger? No, I mean not Bellinger. What you call it? One of the brothers.
Jock.
Seager.
No,
Corey
Seager.
Did Jock leave? Or was he already gone?
Jock Peterson?
He was supposed to leave. He was supposed to leave last year, but they got him back. I don't think he's...
Yeah, you're talking about Jock Peterson.
I don't think he left. I think he's with the Dodgers.
Well, see, they're still going to have an incredible team, so they're just adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Does that have a...
I would hate to be a Giant fan hoping to get any kind of championship ring in the next 5 years.
No, Jock Peterson is with the Cubs.
Oh yeah, you know what? I did see that.
Oh, they lost Kike Hernandez. He went to the Red Sox.
I like Kike.
I mean,
I like his name. I think better than him.
Yeah, he wasn't. I mean, he was a good utility player. He wasn't pivotal.
He came through in the World Series, didn't he?
Yeah. I don't know. They're not losing anybody too big. I think they just re-signed Buehler, or they extended his contract.
They avoided arbitration.
Yeah. So they're going to be good for a long time. I hope somebody can beat them, please. And then the A's, actually,
they made a move, which was they traded Chris Davis.
Thank God.
I'm still upset about it, though. No, but he still meant a lot to the team morally wise. And like the memories too that we have with him.
Right, he had great
it's like
memories.
letting go Coco Crisp, it's like he became a liability in the end, but still though, the memories that you had with him, it's hard to let go of.
I appreciate the memories. I don't knock me on that, but what I will say is when he struck out, which was a lot, and he didn't do good, which was awesome.
He was good in the playoffs though. He was.
Yeah.
Really good.
He was whoopie doo. Anyway.
More than the pitchers. They were good. They were good all season, but once it came to playing the Astros, they just wet the bed.
He was while he was I guess great on the bench, whatever. But when he would strike out or not get hit, he would just sulk back to the dugout and then do nothing but sit on the bench and twiddle his thumbs until it was time for him to bat again.
I think that's a negative
I like Elvis Andrew.
I'm glad they got him.
I'm glad they got Elvis Andrew.
Andrus.
Same thing.
Isn't he aging? I mean, isn't he?
He's 32. He'll be 32 this year. And for him, his contract isn't too good either. Like, it's not great. I think it might be slightly better than Davis's. I don't really know.
But they had Simeon. Like, they could have just had. He was a cheaper option, right? I mean, a really good shortstop, a really good team player.
I keep wanting to cut Forrest some slack because of what situation he's in with the ownership, but I feel like he could still be doing better with it. I feel like they really could have done something to retain Semien and still get rid of Davis's contract.
Well, he wanted more money, which I don't blame him.
Yeah, but if they're going to do that, just to
deal,
pay
right?
Andrus a lot of money too,
it
doesn't make sense.
1 year deal, $18 million.
Yeah.
Instead of $12 million over 10 years.
Yeah, but still, they could have done something better.
I think it's just frustrating.
It's a mistake on.
They have a budget, and you've known this. They've had a budget for years, which
Yeah, which means they should have done better with it, knowing that.
But they were so close last year. They made it that far. Why not just add a few pieces to get even further? Like that's what doesn't make sense to me.
They should have made moves like a kind of do or die move. Like I don't want. I hate to make this comparison, but kind of like how the A's traded for John Lester before. It wasn't a good move in the end. It was an awful move. But you understood why they made that move. They did it because they wanted to make a step up, and of course, it still wasn't enough.
No, I would never give up a pitcher for a player, a starter, because a pitcher is going to pitch every 5 days, maybe 6, whereas an everyday player can help you every single game. And how do you get those runs for those pitchers?
I will say
Have a
though,
good-
even though
good
the A's
batter.
offense does get shut down a lot in the playoffs, you could also say that they're, in their other two wild card games, what happened? They didn't have a true starting pitcher for either wild card game. When it came to doing the whole bullpen thing, that worked horribly. Manaea, he played one of his worst games ever. Fires in the game 3 of the wild card series, he played awful.
He only gave up 2 runs.
They need. He still wasn't playing that well, and a lot of pitchers.
But they didn't give him a chance. People give up runs early.
Yeah, but Fires though is I think different. He's not exactly someone that you can see him let go of something early and then count on him to get back.
You guys re-signed him.
Yes,
Yeah, we did.
I'm glad they did. Got something to say about that kid?
They still need to get someone
They need a reliable starter.
yeah, like a playoff starter. And we don't really have that. And look at how much our pitchers screwed up in the divisional round. They were the reason why we lost. The offense was doing a lot to help us win,
Well,
but the pitching was just awful. And
hopefully
and they gave us no chance.
Montas can have a bounce back year of sorts.
Hopefully Puck is healthy. Luzardo can make improvements, but still though, it's not guaranteed. And they should have traded for a true pitcher.
There is no extended playoffs, so the A's are going to have to win the division this year. So, which...
Well, they're still wild card, but
Yeah,
it's
but
much harder though.
it would just be better for them to win.
Yeah, Houston's minus Springer too. So
But the Rangers, did they get better?
Right.
No. I mean, honestly, the A's could do it. They could go to the playoffs
they
again.
can and they will.
I think A's can definitely get somewhere in the high 80s and low 90s. Not as good as 18 and 19, but still, I think they can get somewhere within that range.
You just have to hope everybody else is worse, which I think the rest of the ALS might be.
Yeah, anything with the Angels going on, I know I know they did something with Ohtani, like an extension.
They actually traded for Dexter Fowler from the Cardinals, and they're sending somebody to be named later. That's not really a big upgrade or any. Dexter Fowler is a decent player. I think he was better in prior years, but it's not anything that's really going to help them. They need starting pitching. They should have gone after Bauer. But yeah, I don't think Mike Trout will win anytime soon over there, unfortunately.
Yeah, good guy.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's some rumors going on. Mets were asking about Matt Chapman allegedly.
Never happened.
Yeah, I don't really buy into that, but still, though, it's just sad to think about the idea of maybe eventually they'll trade him.
Those rumors. It's not a tumor.
But anyways, though, they know that it does seem inevitable though for the A's that they're gonna let go of their talents
I can
because
see
they can't
that.
pay him anymore.
Yeah.
You saw what happened with Davis. They gave him an extension, and immediately after that, his production dipped a lot.
Well, it didn't help for him to be injured too. He was such a liability on defense. The only time he ever played defense is against National League teams in National League parks, and he looked lost out there. And what happens when he was out there? Injury.
Yeah, he hit the railing.
Yeah. Next thing you know, he's out.
But anyways, though, I just feel like this team is gonna be willing to pull out a lot of money that Chapman and Olsen will eventually be worth. And the other pitchers too, Luzardo, Puck. Well, Puck, if his value right now it has to be pretty low because his availability has been low as well.
Oh, you got to
stability
play.
is
You have to play
availability.
first.
Yeah. Not really much else to talk about here. Anyone else? Anything they want to talk about with sports?
No, I did my little trivia thing already.
Pitchers and catchers report on Wednesday.
Oh,
nice.
nice.
Yeah.
When does spring training start?
I think 2 weeks after that, opening day is April 1st.
All right.
Woo.
Yeah. I don't know why. I still like to watch a little bit of spring training just because it is baseball. But then it's the minute you watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when the Giants and the A's play each other. It's
Or also for football, the Hall of Fame game they have. It's the week before week 1 of the preseason. It's oh yeah, it is some football. Then you just watch a minute. It's okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy listening to this. Anyway, so next week, my dad and I are going to be heading out to record with 2 of his brothers. Should be really fun. Hope you guys watch that when it comes out. Anyways, good night.